Jane. She was being shaken. For God's sake, wake up, baby. It's only a dream. You're scaring me. Eve. Mustn't scare Eve. Maybe it was a dream if she said so. She forced her lids open and looked up into Eve's worried face. The worried frown was replaced by relief. Phew, that must have been a doozy of a nightmare. Okay now? Fine. Jane moistened her lips. Sorry I bothered you. Go back to bed. I wasn't in bed. I was working. Eve turned on the bedside lamp and then grimaced as she looked down at her hands. And I didn't wipe the clay from my hands before I came in here. You probably have bits of it in your hair. That's okay. I have to wash it in the morning anyway. I want to look good for my driver's license photo. That's tomorrow? Jane sighed resignedly. I told you yesterday that I'd need you or Joe to take me. I forgot. Eve smiled. Maybe I'm in denial. Getting your first driver's license is sort of a rite of passage. It could be I don't want you to be that independent. Yes, you do. Ever since we've been together, you've made sure that I could take care of myself in every way. You've done everything from giving me karate lessons to having Sarah train Toby as a guard dog. So don't tell me that you don't want me to be independent. Well, not independent enough to walk away from Joe and me. I'll never do that. Jane sat up in bed and gave Eve a quick, awkward kiss. Even after all these years, loving gestures were difficult for her. So which one of you is going to take me to the driver's license bureau? Probably Joe. I have to finish this skull right away. What's the urgency? Eve shrugged. Search me. Joe brought the skull home from the precinct and asked me to make it top priority. He said it had to do with linking a group of homicides. Jane was silent a moment. A kid? Eve shook her head. A woman. Her eyes narrowed on Jane's face. You thought it might be Bonnie? Jane always thought it might be Bonnie, Eve's daughter who had been murdered when she was 7 and whose body had never been found. The tragedy had been the impetus that had made Eve study to become a forensic sculptor, to identify murder victims and bring closure to other grieving parents. The search for Bonnie and her passion for her career still dominated her life. Jane shook her head. If you suspected it was Bonnie's skull you were working on, you wouldn't have even heard my stupid caterwauling. She held up her hand as Eve opened her lips. I know. You don't love me less than you did Bonnie. It's just different. I've known that all along. From the beginning. She was your child, and we're more friends. And that's okay with me. She settled back in bed. Now you go back to work, and I'll go back to sleep. Thanks for coming in and waking me. Good night, Eve. Eve didn't answer for a moment. What was your nightmare about? Heat, panic, darkness, a night without air or hope. No, there had been hope. I don't remember. Has Toby come back yet? Not yet. I'm not sure it's a good idea to let him out at night. He's half wolf. That's why I let him roam. Now that he's grown, he has to have more freedom. Jane yawned. Sarah said it was okay, but I'll stop him if you say the word. No, I guess not. Sarah should know. Sarah Logan was Eve's good friend, as well as the canine search and rescue specialist who had given Toby to Jane. Just keep an eye on him. I will. I'm responsible for him. You know I won't let you down. You never have. Eve stood up. Good night, Jane. When she closed the bedroom door behind her, Joe was standing in the doorway of their bedroom. Is Jane okay? A nightmare. Eve moved down the hall toward her studio. But she's not talking about it. She probably thinks nightmares are a sign of weakness, and heaven forbid she show any weakness. Like someone else I know. Joe followed her. Want some coffee? I could use a cup right now. Eve nodded. Sounds good. She went back to stand before her pedestal. Can you go to the driver's license bureau with her tomorrow? Sure. I planned on it. I forgot. You're a better parent than I am, Joe. You've been working your ass off. He measured coffee into the coffee maker, and that's my fault. Besides, Jane never wanted parents when she came to us. She wasn't Orphan Annie. Hell, she may have been only 10, but she was as street-smart as a woman of 30. We've done the best we could to give her a good home. But I wanted her to. She stared blindly at the model. She's 17, Joe. It's just that she's always acted so mature that I forget that she's just a kid. No, you didn't forget. You just recognized that the two of you are as alike as two peas in a pod. He poured her a cup of coffee and brought it to her. She sipped it and then grimaced. You made it strong enough. You really want to keep me awake to finish this skull, don't you? It's important to the case. Have you named her yet? Of course. She's Ruth. You know I always name them before I work on them. It's more respectful. Just asking. He moved toward the front door. I think I hear Toby. And you changed the subject. Yes. He smiled over his shoulder. After all these years, I need to maintain a little mystery. If I become too predictable, you might get bored with me. No chance. She looked away from him. I might have thought I could tell what you'd do next at one time, but not anymore. Son of a bitch! She looked up to see Joe glaring at her. Sorry. I shouldn't have said that. No, you damn well shouldn't, even though I know you're thinking it. When are you going to trust me, for God's sake? I trust you. Within limits. Don't yell at me. You set those limits. I lied. I deceived you, but you damn well know I only did it to stop you from hurting. You let me think I buried the bones of my Bonnie instead of another little girl. You did it on purpose. She met his gaze. I told you it would take time for me to forgive that. I try, but sometimes it comes back to me and I say, I love you, Joe, but I can't pretend all the time. If that's not good enough, it's your call. And you know what that call will be. He drew a deep, ragged breath. I'll take what I can get. I won't let you go. He opened the screen door. Every month, every year we're together is a bonus. We'll get past this. Where's that damn dog? He went out on the porch, and she heard him whistle. Toby? He was angry and hurt. If she hadn't been so tired, she wouldn't have let those words tumble out. She was usually more careful. When she had decided to stay with Joe, it had been with the intention of making the relationship work. She had known it would be hard, but most worthwhile things weren't easy. I got it! Jane shouted the next day. She parked the SUV and jumped out of the car and ran up the steps to the porch where Eve was waiting. It was a pretty easy test, Eve. They should make it harder. I don't like the idea of being on the road with kids who could pass that level of, Get down, Toby! She hugged his neck and then pushed him down. But I got it, and the photo isn't too bad, is it, Joe? She handed the license to Eve, then turned to Joe. Thanks for taking me. I'll pay you back by fixing dinner for you and Eve. No, you won't. Joe got out of the passenger seat and got a sack of groceries out of the back. This is a celebration, and you're the guest of honor. I'll grill some steaks. He climbed the steps. And she came out with a perfect score on that easy test, Eve. Cool as a cucumber. I didn't expect anything else. Eve glanced down at the driver's license. The photo was very good. Jane's brown eyes were shining from that triangular face that was more fascinating than pretty. Eve had always thought she looked a little like Audrey Hepburn with those winged brows and high cheekbones, but Joe couldn't see it. He said Jane was an original, and if she looked like anyone, it was Eve. The same red-brown hair color, the same well-shaped mouth, the strong chin. It's a great photo, Jane. Yeah, I look like I might have a modicum of intelligence. You finished with Ruth yet? Getting close, but I'll have to work until supper is ready. Okay? Okay. Jane turned away and ran down the steps. Come on, Toby, let's go for a run by the lake. She glanced over her shoulder. Call me if you need help, Joe. I think I can manage. Joe opened the screen door. You and Toby need to get rid of some of that energy. You may not have been nervous, but you're charged. Don't come back until you're more mellow. Jane laughed, but didn't answer as she streaked down the lake path with Toby at her heels. The woman was damn heavy. His chest was laboring as he carried the tarp-wrapped body up the hill. She was too heavy, too voluptuous. He had known it wasn't Sierra, but she was similar enough that she had to be eliminated. He couldn't take any chances. Not with Sierra. Never with Sierra. He grunted as he reached the top of the hill. He dropped the body on the ground and looked down at the sloping bank that dropped into Lake Lanier. The water was deep here, and he'd weighted the tarp. She might not be discovered for weeks. And if she was found earlier, then